Each year in the United States, thousands of major crimes go unsolved. When the case has gone cold and police have nowhere to turn, they seek assistance from the public. This is a program dedicated to solving these cases. This is Crime Stoppers Case Files.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for another Northeast Ohio edition of Crime Stoppers Case Files. I'm Bob Frantz. There are over 1,400 Crime Stoppers organizations operating around the world, and these organizations are empowering citizens like you to become directly and anonymously involved in fighting crime in our communities. Each week on this television program, we'll share facts with you from unsolved cases. When a family loses someone to murder, they're changed forever. Today we're going to feature two separate murders that rocked the same family. Yes, a father lost a son and later a stepson in two unrelated Cleveland homicides. The first is the December 2009 murder of Deondre Williams on Cleveland's west side. Here's his story.
My son, Deondre Williams, he was very, very, very sensitive. He loved people. He was a people person, had plenty of friends. Everyone was crazy about him. Everyone knew Scoot.
Deondre was, we called him Scoot. He would sit around on the floor, he wouldn't walk. He would scoot around everywhere he went, from the kitchen to the bedroom, to the bathroom, just scoot around all day.
But as he got older, we called him Dre by his real name. He didn't want to be called Scoot anymore. My brother was very loving, very sweet, loved his family, loved to make jokes, just always funny, always laughing. So when I was down, he always brought me up, made me feel good. And that was the only brother I had, so. And he was just a people person. He always wanted things, you know. He liked it to resolve problems. He never was the type that liked it, you know, friction or, you know, liked it to he say, she say or whatever, you know. He just always tried to, you know, keep things level and peaceful and everything. And that's what led up to, you know, his life being taken. Him trying to be a peacemaker and just trying to help other people out.
911, do you need police, fire, ambulance?
Cleveland Police, somebody got shot.
Where at?
I live in Parkmount off Rocky River Drive, and somebody got shot down there 5 minutes ago, and it don't sound good. I looked out the window and seen a bunch of guys running, and I kept hearing gunshots, one after the other. Had to have been at least 12.
Well, they should be pulling up right now, okay?
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks.
On December 13th of 2009, we received a call at our office for a male victim of a gunshot wound who had died at Fairview General Hospital. We then went to Fairview General Hospital, and the male was identified as Deondre T. Williams, a black male, 28. After going to the hospital, we then went to the scene, which is the area of Rocky River and Parkmount. There we interviewed several individuals. We learned that the victim had left earlier going to the store.
He was walking home. He went to the store, the convenience store that's located on Rocky River. Him and a couple of friends, a couple of cousins. They were walking from the store, coming down Parkmount Street, and someone jumped out the bushes. It was only one male at the time that jumped out the bushes. He said, "Get down, y'all know what it is." That's just what he told them, "Get down, y'all know what it is." My son turned around, looked, and took off running. And hit the people that was with him, they all scattered. They went different ways. But what they didn't know, it was someone else over on the other side with a gun as well that was shooting. As he ran, he was shot in the back of the head. And where he fell at, it was a door open, and it was some friends of his where he grew up at down on Central Quincy. And they came out to his rescue.
The victim was found laying at the rear of one of the apartment buildings with a headshot wound. EMS was summoned. He was treated and transported to Fairview General Hospital. Once there, he expired on December 13th at approximately 3:30 p.m. During our interview of the witnesses, we were informed that approximately in excess of 10 shots were fired. None of the witnesses who heard the shots looked out and saw anything. Apparently, there might have been a confrontation earlier between the victim and his group and another group at a bar in the area of Ingle Road and Brook Park. This may have been a carryover for that. We have not been able to verify that. We've interviewed the people who were with the victim, and they identified the assailant as possibly 3 black males wearing dark clothing and armed with a possibly semi-automatic weapon.
In 1975, the first Crime Stoppers organization was formed by a detective who believed media attention helped solve cases. Since then, thousands of Crime Stoppers organizations have been formed around the globe with the same mission, encouraging members of the public to stand up against crime. Every 14 minutes, Crime Stoppers help solve a crime somewhere in the world. Get involved.
On December 12th of 2009, Deondre Williams was the victim of a gunshot wound to the head on his way home from the store. He was with 3 other males, and they were confronted by 3 males, possibly 2 with firearms. Our understanding and our observation of the scene appear that the assailants stood still and fired while they were standing, while the victim was running away. The victim himself was trying to escape and was shot while running away.
I found out because I got a phone call from one of the girls I work with, and she actually lives in the back of me, and she called me and was like, where's your brother? I was like, well, he just walked out the door. He went to the store. And she goes, oh, wow, I think you need to hurry up and get around the corner. Did you just hear those gunshots? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, they said that it might have been Scoop.
My daughter, Tay, called me and said, Dad, you need to get over to your stepmom's house. She got some bad news. So I got up and I went over there, and when I got there, they had already rushed him to the hospital. We got over to the hospital, and they wouldn't let anyone up because there's so many family members out there. And when they finally let me and his mom up, he was on life support. He was already brain dead. They was trying to give him a chance to live, but unfortunately, the gunshot wound was too much for his brain to take, and I had to pull the plug on him.
I'm sick every day until this comes to an end, justice is done for Deondre. I won't rest. I can't sleep, I can't eat, I'm not comfortable. My family's the same way. It's brought our family a lot closer together because now we talk about things we didn't used to talk. Now everyone talks every day. It's making everybody realize that this can happen to anybody. I really don't care about nothing now except for just bringing this to justice. I don't really have a care in the world. I just want them to bring whoever did this, I just want them to turn themselves in, that's all. He didn't deserve this. He really didn't. We miss him dearly. I just keep thinking every morning I'm going to wake up and see him again. Every morning, every night. It's just so hard.
We understand that there were quite a few people out. It appeared to be quite a few people out that night.
All police have to go on in the murder of Deondre Williams is a vague description. They're looking for 3 black males dressed in dark clothing who frequented nightclubs on the west side of Cleveland. And we'll be right back with another murder that rocked this same family when we return to Crime Stoppers Case Files. We just featured the December 2009 murder of 28-year-old Deondre Williams, killed near Rocky River Drive on Cleveland's far west side. Now, as his family was recovering from and dealing with Deondre's death, they were rocked again, this time by the murder of 27-year-old Terrence Nicholson on Clawson Avenue on Cleveland's east side. Here's the story.
Terry is second in line of 5 birth children. It's actually a total of 13 children with stepchildren and all. He was my leader. He was my little soldier.
First time I met him, we started wrestling. Wrestling was his thing back then. We wrestled for like 3-4 hours. You know, he was a really fun kid. I really miss him.
He was my little troublemaker, you know, but smart, very, very smart. He's the father of 3 beautiful children, 2 girls and a little boy, and just looked out for everybody in the family. He was the one that took care of everybody.
He wasn't the type of person to hurt anybody. or he was just a good person. Terry was my favorite brother.
On January 13, 2011, at approximately 2:40 p.m., we received a call at our office to respond to the location of 6818 Clausen Avenue, male victim of a gunshot wound. We responded to that location, and when we went to the rear door, we found our victim, Terrence Nicholson Jr., lying at the bottom of the stairs, half in, half out, with a gunshot wound to the neck. We talked to the downstairs neighbors who reported to us that the victim had just left their house. He was downstairs with them playing video games when he heard a noise upstairs in his apartment. When he heard the noise, he thought it might have been his girlfriend upstairs in his apartment. He was not aware that two males were attempting to enter his apartment upstairs. Terrence went upstairs to investigate, and a short time later, the neighbor heard one gunshot. We believe that the weapon used to shoot Mr. Nicholson was a shotgun at close range. There was pellets and wadding inside the wound of the victim's neck.
The day this happened, I looked at my phone and I had several missed calls from his younger brother. A lot of voicemails that I didn't check at the time. I called him back, and all I could hear was screams. It took me like 10 minutes to find out what he was trying to tell me. Finally, I can get in little phrases, my brother, mom, my brother, and I just, I hit the floor. It's the worst phone call I've ever could imagine. I calmed down for a moment and told myself that he must be mistaken, and that's not possible. I drove up, and the yellow tape was around the houses and street full of people, and my son was out there, a couple of my daughters, and that's when it hit me. It was real. And he was laying there. It's the most awful thing I ever seen. So unbelievable. I just went through this 13 months before with my stepson, Deondre Williams. 13 months exactly to the day he was murdered also.
Crime Stoppers is an international organization dedicated to bringing resolution to unsolved crimes. Members of the public work with police to make the world a safer place. Since 1975, thousands of Crime Stoppers organizations worldwide have helped make over 1 million arrests. Crime Stoppers acts as your advocate, keeping you anonymous and ensuring that your information gets to the right law enforcement agency.
On January 13, 2011, Terrence Nicholson Jr., 27-year-old male, was killed at his home on Clausen Avenue. The day before the incident occurred, from speaking with one of his associates, we learned that he received some threatening phone calls, which had him quite upset. We know that Terrence Nicholson Jr. was visiting his neighbors downstairs playing video games when he heard a noise upstairs in his apartment. It appears that the suspects who entered Mr. Nicholson's apartment wanted to enter as silently as possible. The suspects took a torch and burned a hole through the plexiglass so that there wouldn't be much noise downstairs. Terrence went to investigate the noise. He went out the back door and upstairs to his apartment. Shortly thereafter, a gunshot was heard. Right after that, two males were seen leaving the victim's home and through the driveway. Both males were black males. One of the males was wearing a black pea coat with a half mask. The male was about 5 feet 8 inches tall and approximately 170 pounds. The second male was dressed pretty close to the first male, but he was seen wearing some lime green tennis shoes. Both males ran eastbound on Clausen Avenue and then southbound on East 71st Street. Upon conferring with the Cuyahoga County Coroner's Office after the autopsy of Mr. Nicholson, the coroner believes that a shotgun was used to commit the murder because the victim had pellets and also wadding from a shotgun embedded in his neck.
Life has changed tremendously. Everybody's on edge, looking around, trying to see these guys, and it's just not going to be the same. I lost my first son, Deondre Williams. Was breaking up a fight, didn't bother anyone. He's a real peaceful guy. But now I lose another son, Terrence Nicholson. It's just tragic, man.
It wouldn't bring him back, but just to try to understand why you had to take away my son, my grandkid's father. Just knowing these two people are walking the streets. I don't want anybody else to go through this pain.
You know, I talk to my peoples every day, and somewhere during the day, throughout the conversation, they always mention Deondre and they always mention Terry. We just want some justice. You know, it'll ease our pain, ease the family heart. You know, maybe we can get back to normal if we can, if that's possible.
Imagine losing two young men to murder over the course of 2 years. In the January 13, 2011 murder of Terrence Nicholson, police are looking for two black males. Both had on masks and were wearing naval-style peacoats. One had lime green tennis shoes. They're both described as being about 5 feet 8 inches tall, 170 pounds. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Crime Stoppers Case Files, where you are empowered to help clean up your own streets, our streets. Remember, our towns and our neighborhoods are a direct reflection of what we allow them to be. So let's all do our part to make them safe. And we'll see you next week for another edition of Crime Stoppers Case Files.